In this video, I'm going to share some quick tips for using controlled text with your students. This is from my controlled text decodable stories that can be found on Teachers Pay Teachers or on learn.readintervention.com. And we have 35 stories in all. When you open them, you see them as PDFs. And there are some cool things you can do, whether you're doing virtual instruction and you're screen sharing with students, or if you're working in a classroom and you're able to use an interactive whiteboard. We've got some cool little tools we can use to make this more interesting and more interactive with students. So the first thing you can do, I'm just going to kind of scroll down and pick a story. The first thing I want to note is that you can increase the size of your text by just hitting the plus sign, or you can make it smaller, the minus sign. So that's always a nice feature. If you're going to be teaching students virtually, you can zoom in and makes it a little bit easier for the students to read. So one of the tools that I love is the highlight tool, because as you're highlighting, the students can read. Just like if you're having the students do, say, a program like Read Naturally that does the highlighting to help the students track, you can actually do this as well. So if you just click highlight, then as the students are reading, you can actually just go ahead and you can highlight, and it gives you a nice straight line. So it helps as the students are reading, you're highlighting, they're reading it, helps them with their tracking. If you want to have maybe them highlight certain phrases, do not pick up, the check, so you can decide how you want to do that. And then when you scroll down, it's the highlighting stays, which is a nice feature, because if you're using Zoom, and sometimes if you're using that tool, as soon as you scroll down, the writing doesn't actually stay with the text. So this is nice because once you've highlighted it, it will stay on that text. The other nice thing you can do is you can use the drawing feature. So for this, if you wanted to have the students, maybe they're having trouble reading a word with a CH and you want to underline the CH, or underline the CK to show it's a digraph. Or let's see if we can find, perhaps you want to box off, let's scroll down here a little bit. Maybe you wanted to box off a suffix. So let's see if I can find one to show, like here. Maybe the student's having difficulty reading the name Rags, and you just want them to kind of remove the S to help them really focus on rag, and then go back and blend Rags, the dog's name there. So there's all different things you can do. When you get into harder skills, so here's an example of a bunch of S's here. If you want to just box off those suffixes, that's a nice tool to use. And then if you want to, if we get into more difficult words, let's say we want students to apply some cutting strategies. Maybe they come to a word like something and they're not sure how to read that. You can actually have the student, with the drawing tool, you can have them divide the word, and this would be an example of a compound word, makes it a little bit easier for the student to read. So you can also have them draw to do some cutting. So lots of great little tools here. The highlighting tool, the drawing tool, we can zoom in, zoom out. This makes it more interesting for students as you're reading, really helps them focus, and again can be used during virtual instruction or can be used in the classroom on an interactive whiteboard.